Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've been on any path, trail, or even a sidewalk here in Florida lately, you've probably noticed things are getting, well, a little confusing out there. There's this whole new world of electric devices, and man, it comes with a ton of questions. So today, we're going to break down the Florida Bicycle Association's new plan to bring some serious clarity to all that chaos.
All right, let's just jump right in with the big question. You see something electric zip by you. Is that an e-bike? Or is it what a lot of people are starting to call an E-Moto? It might sound like a small difference, but it turns out knowing the answer is a really big deal for safety and for figuring out who belongs where. I mean, we've all had this happen, right? You're just out enjoying a walk or a ride, and then whoosh, some high-speed electric thing flies past you, and it's almost completely silent. It creates this tension and this uncertainty, and that feeling, that's exactly what the Florida Bicycle Association is trying to solve. This growing confusion is affecting everybody, riders, walkers, and even drivers. So how do we even start to fix this? Well, the FBA says it all begins with getting the language right. So for this first part, we're going to focus on creating some really clear, simple definitions to cut through all the noise. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. What is a true e-bike? According to the FBA, it all comes down to one defining feature. You've got to have fully operable pedals. The motor is there to assist you, to give you a boost, not to take over completely. That right there is the core idea. Now let's contrast that with this other term that's popping up, E-Moto. This is not a bicycle. You should really think of it as a kind of lightweight electric motorcycle. These things have more power, they go faster, and safety experts are pretty clear that they just don't belong on the same pads as people on regular bikes or people who are out for a stroll. And here it is side by side, because this is really the heart of the matter. E-bikes, they have pedals, they assist the rider, and they're designed for bike paths. E-Motos, they often don't have pedals at all, they rely completely on motor power, and frankly, they belong out on the road with other motor vehicles. Keeping these two categories separate is absolutely key to the FBA's entire safety plan. Another big piece of the puzzle is how these things get their power. With pedal assist, it just feels like you suddenly have superpowers. It makes pedaling way easier. But a throttle, a motor-only throttle, that means the thing can move all on its own, no pedaling required, kind of like a scooter. And that difference in how they work, that's one of the biggest reasons people are so confused. So you might be asking, is there like an official legal line here? And yes, you bet there is. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission has this simple three-part test. A device is legally a low-speed electric bicycle only if it checks all three of these boxes. 1, it has to have working pedals. 2, the motor has to be under 750 watts. And 3, and this is a big one, its top speed using only the motor has to be less than 20 miles per hour. And that number right there, that is the magic number, 20 miles per hour. If a device with a throttle can go faster than 20 without you pedaling at all, then it's not a bicycle under federal law. It's a simple distinction, but a super powerful one. Now, all this talk about definitions and speed limits, it isn't just academic. It all builds up to a really serious concern, because this isn't just about rules, it's about safety, and especially the safety of our youngest riders. And listen, the stakes here are incredibly high. We're seeing some really troubling data from places like Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital that point to a major spike in serious injuries involving these devices among kids. And it's really concentrated in that 10 to 15-year-old age group. That makes this whole conversation feel way more urgent. And when you dig into that data, you start to see some scary patterns. A lot of these injuries are happening during the morning and afternoon school commute. We're also seeing that helmet use is way too low. And those Class 2 throttles, the ones that let you just press a button and go, are being flagged as a specific risk for younger riders. So seeing all these risks, especially for kids, the Florida Bicycle Association didn't just sit back. They actually put together a whole blueprint for safety, a really practical plan designed to tackle these dangers head-on. So this is the question that always comes up first. If these things can be risky, why not just make everyone get a driver's license to ride one? It seems simple, right? But the FBA has a very clear and maybe surprising answer to that. And their answer is a firm no. The FBA does not support DMV-style licensing. They argue that it creates these huge roadblocks for people who actually rely on e-bikes for transportation. Maybe they can't afford a car or aren't able to drive. And on top of that, there's no guarantee it would actually make anyone safer.
Okay, so if licensing isn't the answer, then what is? Well, their plan is this big 5-part framework. It's a whole package deal. It starts with those clear definitions we just talked about. Then comes a big focus on education, smarter enforcement, clear messaging to the public, and finally, being aware of how our roads and our paths themselves fit into the picture. So for young people, here's their big idea: a youth operator permit. And we have to be super clear about this. This is not a driver's license from the DMV. Think of it as a safety credential for riders between 12 and 16. It would cover the rules of the road, but also, and this is key, it would include a real, hands-on skills test, not just some online quiz. But for it to really work, they say it would need state funding.
And there's another really interesting piece to this plan. It tackles the growing problem of modifications. They're proposing anti-tampering rules to stop people from, jailbreaking their devices, to make them go way faster than they were designed to, or from slapping on these powerful conversion kits that basically turn a bicycle into a motorcycle.
Okay, so that's the big picture plan to change the system. But safety isn't just about new rules from the top down, right? It also comes down to us. This last part is all about our role on the road and the path forward for every single one of us. And the FBA has some really simple advice that every single one of us can start using today. Ride predictably, just like you would in a car. Slow way down when you're around pedestrians. Use lights to make sure people see you. Wear a helmet, which, by the way, is already required by law in Florida for anyone under 16. And maybe the most important one, choose the right tool for the job, the right device for the right place.
So at the end of the day, that's really the goal, isn't it? Clear rules so we can have safer paths. But what the FBI's plan really shows is that the answer isn't just about one new law. It's about education, it's about our own behavior, it's about all of us working together. And that kind of leaves us with the final question to think about. How are we all going to choose to share the road?